ලංකානන්ද ස්වාමින් වහන්සේ ඉලුක්කුවේ වෙල ධම්මරත්න ස්වාමින් වහන්සේගෙන් අවසරයි. මම මේ සභාවේ වැඩ කටයුතු නිල වශයෙන් දැන් ආරම්භ කරනවා. ඒ සඳහා මම ගුඩුමුණේ ලංකානන්ද හාමුදුරන්ට මම ආරාධනා කරනවා අපිව පන්සිල් පිහිටවන්න කියලා.
බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ဒုတိယံ පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ဒုတိယံ පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ဒုတိယံ පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි တတိယံ පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි တတိယံ පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි တတိယံ පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි පාණාති පාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි อดินนาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิกาเมสุมิจฉาจาราเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิมุสาวาดาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิสุราเมรยมัจจปมาดัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิ
My dear friends, I'm a little nervous because my mother is around. Anyway, I'll try my best. This lecture is dedicated to my late father. Piyasena Jayaratna. Affectionately known as Sena Jayaratna. He was born in 1936, September 16, to a mercantile family in Colombo. His parents were Margaret Jayaratna and Lionel Jayaratna. He married Lalita Vijayatunga, a daughter of Millie Vijayatunga and David Vijayatunga of Maligat and Matale. I'm told Sena Jayaratna, my father, was very friendly, very popular among his friends and relations. And he had a keen interest in sports. What I vividly remember about him, that I inherited a very refined collection of books from him on law, on international relations, on philosophy, on sciences, and a fair amount of books on cricket too, which I did not read. Anyhow, it's a fitting tribute that we have a lecture in memory of him. And he had 4 children. I may miss it if I don't tell. His eldest daughter was Ayanti Jayaratna. I'm the son, Nanda Jayaratna. Third is Shamini Jayasuriya. Fourth, the youngest, is Saumya Pereira. My late father had 3 siblings. Late Anil Jayaratna and the sister Dr. Piyasili Bennett and Chandra Jayaratna, the youngest. So we thought it's a fitting tribute to have a discussion. The topic of the discussion is, does free will exist? It's a heavily debated topic in the Western world. And there are many schools of thought on that. But I think the greatest philosopher we have is the Gautama the Buddha. So Ilukuvela Dhammaratana, the Bhikkhu, Ilukuvela Dhammaratana will give us the Buddhist view on this. So without taking a long time on that issue, I'll call upon Chamalka Pereira to introduce the guest lecturer today.
Good evening, Venerable Sir, ladies and gentlemen. To discuss the topic, does free will exist? We have with us someone who is well versed in the philosophy of Buddhism. Let me take a few moments to introduce to you our speaker today, Venerable Ilukke Veladhamma Ratnathero. He is currently a lecturer at the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka. Well accomplished, he holds a Bachelor of Arts Honours degree from the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka and has a credit to his Masters from the University of Kelaniya. He also has many publications, one being an approach to Buddhist philosophy, then Abhidhamma and its development, including character building in Buddhism and a Buddhist approach to personality. I think that's an interesting one. But said that, let us welcome Venerable Ilukke Veladhamma Ratnathero. Venerable Sir.
Dhamma friends, the relatives of the Jayarathna family, sons, daughters, and other relatives are gathered to discuss free will. As the introduction, that means the person who introduced me and who introduced the session explained that free will is a controversial topic and it is well recognized in Western, but still they also don't have a acceptable definition or interpretation to that. Actually, for the Western people, free will is a problem because most of them depend on the God. That means they are the members of a religion which is called God-centered religion. In such a society, they cannot think as they wish because they believe that everything would be done by the God, or according to the wish of the God, everything happens. But for the Buddhist people, free will not be a controversial point. But because it was a problem for the Western people, we also had to take it as quite seriously. But because we wanted to know what it is. For the sake of understanding, finding more definitions, I collected one definition, that is freedom of the individual to think and act. So into this view, I have gathered the whole idea, what is called free will. Free will has been intimately connected with the question of moral responsibility. That is what. We had to responsible for the morality because we believe that we follow the karma or karma follows us. Even though we don't believe God will punish us, we don't believe that, or God will give something else, that's what we don't believe, but we believe that karma follows us. Karma follows us. When we consider the relevant term, Chetanaham bhikkhave kammang vadami. So, Chetana, intention, itself is the karma. Buddha has said, Chetanaham bhikkhave kammang vadami, Chetana becomes the karma because there are other reasons. That is, Cheta itva kammang karoti, because we do action having thought. Having thought, we do an action through the body or through the words or through the mind. Chetanaham bhikkhave kammang vadami, Cheta itva kammang karoti, kayena vachaya manasa. So the first cause is Chetana, intention, idea or the thought. first we need the thought. Secondly, we can took it into practice. We can take it into practice through the words, through the bodily activities, or through the mind. Buddha had to answer that question because in India, Ningantanatha Buddha, he has accepted 3 danda. I think you know those 3 are Kaya Danda, Vachi Danda, and Mano Danda. And he has mentioned Kaya Danda is the highest. That means bodily action is the highest. Then Buddha proved that. Not the bodily action, but the action of the mind, or the chetana, or the intention is the highest. Now, according to Buddhism, we can identify, you understand, because of chetana, certain activities could be done. But to the beginning, we need chetana. Then as the second bullet, it says, we have control our decisions, that our actions depend on us, and they are not predetermined by anybody or anything. In a God-centered religion, we cannot do that because God is the decider, He is the doer. But in Buddhism, quite similar with the karma, because we believe that something happens according to the karma. That is the point where we have to say there is a problem in relation to the free will, or only if we have only the thought, or with the help of thoughts only, whether we could do something else or not. That is quite a controversial point. We want to know whether it is enough to have a thought. Whether it is enough to have a thought. If it is enough to have a thoughts, then certain controversies will arise. I think Renukani Chandavimalanayaka Thero, in one of his book, he has mentioned we cannot perform at least a dana only through the intention. Because if I have the intention, through my mind, I can invite monks and offer a dana, but I am not going to practice it with my verbal and bodily activities. Just I thought. But he says, only through the mind we cannot do a complete task, complete action. The action would not be completed just because we did it only through the mind. It needs we have to practice that through the body, words, and mind. Now, we are going to move on to the topic, free will. However, there are certain instances where it works beyond our expectations. That means, even though the intention it would be there, only through the intention we cannot do something else. For example, if a person who is sick, who is not well, even though he thinks to get up quickly, he cannot do that. But his intention is there. Even though his intention is there, he cannot take it into practice. He cannot get on his own feet. Right. And also we have to pay our attention not only into the intentional activities but also unintentional activities. Right. As I understood, this is not a easy topic. This is a serious topic. But I am not going to introduce, or I am not going to say there is freedom in Buddhism or there is free will in Buddhism or not. I explain or I clarify the Buddha's teaching. Then you yourself can decide whether there is freedom or free will in Buddhism or not. So my expectation is there to reveal whether there is freedom or not. That means decision had to be taken by you. Right. when we are going to discuss free will, we can clarify everything into two categories or into two groups. One is determinism, other one is indeterminism. There are some activities that depends on determinism. There are other activities that depends on indeterminism. Now, as Buddha explained with his first discourse, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, he has explained there are two extremes. Dveme bhikkave yanta pabbajitena nasevi tabba. There are two extremes. Kāmasukallakāna yoga and Attakilamatana yoga. Sense indulgence and self-torture. So they are the two extremes. And then Buddha mentioned we should not follow the two extremes, but we should follow the middle path. In the same manner, we have to identify the free will is between determinism and indeterminism. Between determinism and indeterminism. Then there is a problem. What is middle? What is the middle? So how do we define, how do we understand the middle? Not only for us it became a problem, but also the monks during the time of the Buddha also had to face the same difficulty. In Majjhya Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, that problem is mentioned. I think you can see. Here, the monks, they introduce 6 categories. 6 categories. Within these 6, they try to identify what the middle is. Right? Exactly, this is quite difficult, but I believe that you could understand. Monks, one of the monks, he suggests, Passa is one side, Passa Samudayo is other side. Right? Passa means contact. When we have certain contacts, there are 6 kinds of contacts: eye contacts, ear contacts, nose contacts, tongue contacts, body contacts, mind contacts. In that way, there are 6 kinds of contacts. Then Passa Samudayo, the next side, it says Passa Samudayo, origin of contact. Origin of contact. In the middle it says Passa Nirodha, cessation of contact. So the certain monks, he introduced Passa Nirodha. Passa Nirodha. That means extinction of the contact. Ceasing the contact or vanishing the contact is mentioned as it is in the middle. So Passa is in one side, Passa means contact. Contact is in one side, origin of the contact is another, and cessation of the contact is in the middle. That is one idea, right? Another monk, he says, this is, I think with the second example, you can understand this is very clearly. He says, Atitang. Atitang means past. Past is one side. Then Anagatang, next side. Past is one extreme, future is another. Then what should be the middle? What should be the middle? It is the present. So, Pacchupanna. In Buddhism, Buddha did not use Vattamana Bhava. He used Pacchupanna Bhava. According to the Buddha's teaching, there is no Vattamana Bhava. Because only the thing that depends on other things. Right? So, he introduced Atita Bhava or Atitang, Anagatang and Pacchupannam. So, Pacchupanna is the present. Pacchupanna is the present. So, according to that monk, the present time is the middle. Past is one extreme, future is another extreme, middle is the present. Then the next one, another monk, he suggests Sukha. Sukha means happiness. Happiness has one extreme. Then Dukkha. Dukkha has another extreme. So what should be the middle? One is sukha, other one is dukkha, happiness and unhappiness, happiness or suffering. So the middle is should be the two. Should be the two. Adukka masukha, neutral. Or it cannot be mentioned as happiness or unhappiness. That is the middle. Right. The third one is, I don't believe you could understand. Anyway, Nama is one side, Rupa is another, because I say this is quite difficult because of the definition and because of the explanations given by the Buddhist scholars. Not because of the Buddha's teaching, but because of the scholars, as they have identified, as they have interpreted, they mixed it into a controversial point. Right? That means, according to the Buddha's teaching, I think you could understand, right? According to the Buddha's teaching, Nama means Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Passa, Manasikara. Nama means Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Passa, Manasikara. Some people, they try to interpret Vijnana as Nama. So it is wrong. It is wrong, right? Right. Nama means Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Passa, Manasikara. Those 5 are named as, or are grouped as Nama. The next one is Rupa. As we know, Nama, Rupa. So in Salayatana Sutta and in many other, in Nalakalapa Sutta and in many other sutta, it has mentioned Vijnana Paccha Nama Rupa. Not only in that way, other way also. Nama Rupa Paccha Vijnana, both ways are mentioned. That means with the simile of bamboo poles, with the simile of 2 bamboo poles, bundle of 2 bamboo poles, it has been explained. That means one certain bamboo pole would be erected angle in an angle way. That means with the help of each other. 2 bamboo poles should be erected with the help of each other. That means one bundle of bamboo pole can be named as Nama. Other one is Rupa. Rupa means Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. Simply earth, water, fire and air. And Upadaya Rupa. Anyway, one side is Nama, other side is Rupa. What is connected these two is by Vijnana. So both Nama and Rupa would be connected by the Vijnana. So Vijnana is the co-cause which is combined the two. Both Nama and Rupa would be connected by the Vijnana. Or in other way, in other method, something that becomes Nama and Rupa because of the Vijnana, because of the arrival of Vijnana, something means it is something that should be, that should become, or it should be in a possibility of becoming Nama Rupa. It should be something that comes into Nama and Rupa, like an egg. So egg is an example. So in Western people, they have identified, only in Sri Lanka, most of the vegetarian countries, they have identified egg as a vegetarian food. That is correct. Because most of the eggs, not all the eggs, most of the eggs are most of the eggs have the possibility of becoming Nama Rupa. Most of the eggs, not all the eggs, right? Most of the eggs are in the position to become Nama Rupa. Right? If the egg in such a position, Vijnana can come, otherwise it cannot. Right? So now you can understand, something becomes Nama Rupa because of Vijnana. So in this way, they wanted to identify the middle as it is Vijnana, middle as the Vijnana. Right. Then cha ajjhattikani ayatanani, that means 6 senses. And the next side is cha bahirani ayatanani. That means ajjhattikani ayatanani are 6 senses. That means eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. Then the bahira ayatana, that means the external objects are the, for the eye, it should be the form or rupa. Then ear, sound, nose, smell, to the tongue, taste, to the body, touch, and to the mind, pottab, or the contact, or the thoughts. To the mind, it is the thoughts or the volition, right? So 6 senses and the objects. 6 senses are in one side, 6 objects are in other side. What is connected these two with the help of 6 kinds of viññāna? Chakku viññāna, sota viññāna, gāna viññāna, jivha viññāna, kaya viññāna, mano viññāna. With the help of those 6 viññāna, these two are connected. Right, that should be explained with the help of Indika Sutta, but if we have time, we can, right? Then Sakkaya. Then Sakkaya Samudaya. Sakkaya Nirodha. Sakkaya means egoness. Egoness. That means the concept of Atma. The concept of Atma. I-ness or my-ness. This is mine, this is my, something like that. I am. Right, the concept of egoness or the concept of soul. So, if we have the concept of soul, it is one side, then origin of soul is another, and the cessation of soul is in the middle. So, that is how the monks, they try to understand what is middle. But Buddha mentioned, you should not attach even into the middle. Right? This is what is important. We should not attach even into the middle. Only thing we can do is rejecting the two extremes. Rejecting the two extremes. When we are going to reject the two extremes, then we are in the middle. We are in the middle. Otherwise, we should not try to find